Hey, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We are going to give it a few moments and let some of our friends join us. But thank you all for your participation. Okay, there we are. Hello, Nick.
All right. Hello. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Good. Let's see if we can get a crowd here.
That's right. So I did open up the chat. So at any time, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put the questions into the chat. Also, if you would like to speak, this is a very open webinar. So feel free to raise your hand. We're happy to have you come up as panelists. Nick and I are all about building the Raleigh community. So glad that you guys are here. And Nick, did you want to share your screen?
Yes, I can do that.
Awesome.
It'll send you a request.
Got it.
Nice group building here. It's great.
That's right.
All right.
Anybody here already a PadSplit host? Feel free to comment in the chat. All right.
We'll just give people another second or so.
Okay. So you guys, we're Nick and I. Oh, awesome. We got a host here. Thanks so much for joining in. At any point, if you'd like to become a panelist or want to share any words of wisdom to our friends, please let us know. Also, next week, I will be in the Raleigh-Durham area on Wednesday. We're going to have a coffee at Fount. So we'll be sending that out tomorrow, some information about that. So if you're in the area and just want to connect, we will be there. So what I'm going to do is I think I will share my screen because Nick has had, oh, there you are. Okay, let's see. All right, we're just gonna give it one more moment. Let's see if he's back. Oh, there you are.
Sorry, it kicked me out when I tried to share screen.
No worries. I can do it too.
I should be okay now. Yeah, should be. Yeah, great.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, everybody should be able to see this okay.
Yes, perfect. So we'll jump right in. My name is Dominique Rice, and I am based in Charlotte. I come up to Raleigh every month. Nick comes down sometimes as well. And we both work the Raleigh-Durham market, and we're super excited. Here at PadSplit, our model is do well, do good. And so as an investor, we like to do well while still doing good and serving the community by making affordable housing options. And I'll pass it over to my colleague Nick to introduce himself.
Yeah, thank you, Dominique. So, like Dominique said, I do spend a bit of time. Actually, recently moved to the Durham area this year, but still split some time between Philly and Durham. Beautiful place here. It's definitely a great market for us, as is Charlotte. So we're very excited to share some insights about these markets, show some differences, show some commonalities. But I think it's great that you have both of us, in the area or close enough to help look at properties and to share our insights on the local area. So with that, I think we're ready to
Yeah,
get going.
awesome. And Nick, welcome to North Carolina.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah, perfect.
Awesome.
All right. Any questions, guys? Please just drop them in the chat. Don't hesitate to interrupt us or raise your hand. We'll be happy to field those, but we'll open up for Q&A at the end as well, and hopefully have a bit of discussion. So
Okay.
go ahead.
Nope, go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, so PadSplit is a co-living platform. So we are the technology behind the co-living opportunity, and we just happen to be the nation's top co-living platform in terms of scale, and we believe it obviously in terms of quality and support, and maximizing opportunity for our hosts. So there's really a few things, that with the co-living platform and co-living in general, that you might be looking to achieve as a host. The top is probably higher cash flow. As an investor, you're always looking to maximize cash flow, and by using this model, with PadSplit or just at co-living in general, the rent by the room model does often allow you to earn more income. But having PadSplit as a backer to that and having a technology product around that allows you to scale. And so, many investors, like I'm sure many of the folks on this call, on this webinar, are looking to not have just one property, but two, three, five, 10. I even hear hundreds of properties sometimes. So, having the ability to scale, having the knowledge on how to scale, and having, a large group or resources behind you is super important. So that's one of the value propositions of having PadSplit, and especially where we are today. And Dominique will speak to more of the value that PadSplit provides, but that's certainly one of them. So a little bit about us. We were founded in 2018 in Atlanta. As I mentioned, we have over 22,000 rooms at this point, adding about 1,000 rooms a month, usually more. So growing very quickly. And these markets that you see on the screen here are what we would consider core markets. Now, a core market is a market where we provide a tremendous amount of resources, mainly around marketing spend and personnel. Again, Dominique and I live here, Raleigh, Charlotte, Philly. Which you see on the screen. There's a couple of other core markets that aren't listed on the screen that are newer as well. But being in a core market definitely provides an advantage that at some point we can talk about the differences between a core and emerging market. But yeah, I'll pass it over to Dominique.
Awesome, awesome. So I will highlight a little bit about the core markets. So if you are interested in doing PadSplit in a market that was not shown on that map, we would still love to see you on the platform, but it would look a little bit different. Since when you're working in a non-core market, you work with our amazing team member, Zach. He helps all of our hosts all across the country onboard their properties and helps you from start to finish. So if you're on this call and you, want to learn more, you have a property somewhere. I often get hosts who have properties in Alabama or just inherited family properties in non-core markets. When we send out this replay, we will include Zach's information as well. So if you want to learn about investing in non-core markets, Zach is your person and he is awesome and he really helps our investors. So I just wanted to drop that there because Nick and I cannot assist you as much in a non-core market. So we want to point you in the right direction. So with that being said, so PadSplit is the better option for single working class individuals. And oftentimes when I speak to hosts and potential hosts, a lot of people ask, is this for students or is this for who is your demographic? And PadSplit's demographic is truly individuals that work in our community. So our baristas at Starbucks, our teachers' assistants, our construction workers, our single individuals who work in the school systems. This is for people who typically have who work and who have that verifiable income that can prove that, they're able to financially afford their room rentals. So people are asking me all the time, why is PadSplit growing so fast? And unfortunately, it's because rent is continuing to rise and individuals are opting for co-living. It was about $5,500 is the median cost for a studio apartment in the United States. And in order to qualify for that, you must make 3 times the rent. Recently, there's some things I believe that is trying to decrease it to 2 or 2.5. But at this 3 times the rent, in order for an individual to be able to afford this, they have to make $56,000 a year. So long-term rentals have become a higher cost barrier to unlike PadSplit, where our entry is very easy. So when you're moving into a new apartment, historically you need first and last month's rent, a security deposit. You need fees to pay your deposit for your utilities, your internet, your furnishing. So to move to a new place is a very expensive startup. So this is why the PadSplit model is allowing our members ease of moving in. They can bring their bags, they can bring their belongings and settle right in without the overhead costs or the burden of, getting everything set up. So this is as an investor, this is one of my favorite things about PadSplit is that the opportunity to turn a single family home, which is one stream of income, into a multi-stream income property. So how we do this here at PadSplit is our traditional long-term rental in a nice neighborhood in the Raleigh-Durham area easily can rent for around $2,300 per month. My job and Nick's job is to teach you how to turn that same asset into 6 streams of income, which would now gross you around $5,100 per month. How do we do this, right? How do we change this property from one stream of income to 6 streams of income? The first thing that we do here is that we do some conversions. This is what we do. We could easily turn some of this living room space into additional bedrooms. We can turn that formal dining room. Very easy conversion, you guys. I love a dining room conversion so much. We turn that formal dining room into an extra bedroom. Now, we still keep the integrity of the home by keeping the kitchen because we all have to eat, as well as having dining room space for individuals to eat as well. So now this is how we typically get 6 bedrooms in our traditional long-term rental properties. The other thing that is very important that we always want to share about is bathrooms. So what about bathrooms is a question that we hear probably every single day. And the question is like, how many bathrooms in a household is needed? And the PadSplit requirement is 4 to 1. So for every 4 bedrooms, there must be at least 1 bathroom. My personal recommendation is 3 to 1. I'm a girl, so need a little more bathroom time. So my recommendation is 3 to 1. We have a host in the Raleigh-Durham market who operates quite a few PadSplits, usually at 100% occupancy, and he's at 4 to 1. So even though I have a personal preference in the Raleigh-Durham market, we have not seen a difference in occupancy based on that, but that's just my personal preference. And we do recommend at least 2 bathrooms because heaven forbid there's a plumbing issue, you want to have at least 1 bathroom that the members in the home can occupy. So cash flow on underutilized spaces really helps your streams of income. Another point that I like to make is that if you have a single family rental property and someone stops paying, you receive no money. If you have a PadSplit, 6 streams of income, and bedroom number 1 doesn't pay, you still have 5 other streams of income. So this is why you're diversifying at the same asset by maximizing your profits.
Yeah, great. So, all great points, Dominique. Very important things to consider and to think about. And to Dominique's point about the bathrooms, comfort, of someone's stay in the property is relevant. And we're a housing solution. We are not a short-term rental solution. We're not a weekend stay or a week or even a month. This is a housing solution, geared towards solving the affordable housing crisis. And so, you need to keep in mind when you make these decisions, what is most comfortable for somebody long term? Is a queen bed more comfortable than a twin? Certainly. Are 2 bathrooms more comfortable than 1? Certainly. So all these decisions are important and relevant, when you're setting up your PadSplit for success. And we can go into more detail about some of those things. But in terms of what we do at PadSplit, that what is it that PadSplit actually does? There's really 4 things. In addition to the one the 4 you see on the screen, there's also consultation, support that we provide to the host, Dominique and I and our colleagues, on an ongoing basis. We want to set you up for success from the beginning, and we want to educate you and show you how to run this operation successfully. But we also want to continue to be a resource for you, years down the road. Should you ever need anything, should you be looking to grow, whatever it might be, to make sure that you maintain the level of success that you want. Um, but PadSplit as a company, like I said, there's really four things that we're focused on. The first is marketing. In a core market, like I mentioned, we spend a lot of money to make sure that we're filling the rooms very quickly. So that's the first thing we do in terms of marketing is paid advertising, Google, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you might think of, we're paying to advertise there so that we can fill rooms quickly. And we'll talk later on about how quickly do we fill the rooms. In addition to that, we also syndicate our listings to like 65 different sites, Rent a Room, Furnish Finder, Room Buddy, all these different sites. We actually just started a partnership with Zillow as well. So filling the room quickly is very important to us, definitely. In conjunction with that, we don't want to just fill the room quickly, but we also want to fill the room with the right person. There's no point in filling the rooms very quickly with a bunch of people who are just going to be headaches and not allow you to succeed and not allow for a comfortable environment for the other members of the property. And so we conduct a pretty thorough screening process. And so the goal of that is that when we send somebody to you who wants to stay at the property, they're qualified by our standards. In addition to that, you can also do your own level of screening, which basically looks like when somebody requests to stay at the property, you're given 24 hours to speak to that person, call them, text them, email them, get a sense of who they are personally. Why do they want to be at your property? What are they looking for? Are you guys a good fit for each other? And that allows you to conduct a further level of screening, which is really, really useful. And we strongly recommend that hosts do that. Now, our stats around screening and evictions and payments are really good. We collect rent at about a 98% clip, and our evictions rate is about 1.2% across the platform. So we're really good at this. We've mastered these two things, filling the rooms and filling them with the right people. So they're very, very important to us. The third thing is support. Again, I mentioned that Dominique, myself, our colleagues are always here to offer support. To you as host in terms of strategy, but day-to-day operations are also relevant. And so we have a huge support team that helps manage that 24/7. That's for you as the host, and it's also for the members. And we can speak later on as to why we call them members and not tenants. But we offer 24/7 support for everybody involved with the property. Our goal is to handle everything we can short of anything that requires physical presence at the property. So any kind of repair, anything that requires you to be present, or a property manager or a handyman to be present at the property, is something that you handle as the host, but everything short of that, we handle. And then the final thing is rent collection. I mentioned that we collect rent at a very good rate, and everything gets done electronically through the platform. Folks can pay either weekly or bi-weekly, depending on what they prefer, and then the host gets paid out monthly. Now, the first month, the first 30 days do get paid upfront by the member upon move-in, but after that, it goes to weekly or bi-weekly. So I will hand it back over to Dominique here.
Awesome. I do want to add that we get a lot of questions about payments. And so one thing that I want to reiterate is that every single thing that we collect for the month of July is paid out in the next month. So everything collected from July 1st until July 31st is paid out in August. So just kind of answering that question, I received that a couple of times this week already. So wanted to clarify that. The other thing that I always love to share is that I love how we collect rent. This is part of the reason why our rent collection is at 98+%, because we collect when people get paid. Okay, so traditional landlord is usually collecting rent the first of the month. So this year, the first of the month was July 4th weekend, right? How many people do you think didn't pay their rent because of the holiday weekend? It was their whole check. They wanted to do something fun. Their rent wasn't paid. Here at PadSplit, we collect the monies when they get paid, which means that you get paid first. It just works. So weekly and biweekly payment collection aligning with an individual's paycheck really helps us be successful in this. So now I'll share a little bit about our fees, because with all this great service, yes, there are some fees associated with it, but we're super transparent and we don't make money unless we're making you money. So there's no startup fees, there's no fees to work with Nick and myself as we guide you through your journey. There are absolutely no fees unless we're making you money. So here at PadSplit, we have a two-part fee structure. Part number one is our booking fee. So anytime we place an individual in a room, we charge 100% of the first 10 days of every move-in. So this means if you are renting a room for $800, we are charging a booking fee of $266 to place that individual in that room. If that person stays for 4 months or for 12 months, there's no additional booking fee for that one person. So my job and Nick's job is to help you optimize your property so that person stays for that 6-12 month span. And we do a really good job. If you follow the blueprint, your members will stay. The next portion of our fee structure is 8% of the revenue collected after the booking fee. So each month going forward, or the rest of that month, we collected 8% PadSplit platform fee. Those are our only fees that we charge for working with PadSplit. Is there any questions about the fee structure? Any questions about how we charge? We are 100% open book about this. Oh, we have Guy. I am going to I'll turn your, oh, we have a few hands up. So yes, let's go to these questions. Let's see, here we go. Hey, Guy. Unmute yourself. There you go.
I know since I'm in an emerging market, it's not one of your core markets. So if we find our own, we do our own placement for the member, does that booking fee still apply?
Absolutely not. So great question, Guy. Whether you're in an emerging market or a core market, if you find your own member, that placement fee is 100% waived. So for those of you who are anything like me, I do cross marketing. So I will share in Facebook groups. If you're working with Nick and I or any of our hosts, and a lot of us will share your property and tag PadSplit, and it'll go on our social media channels. So we're all about helping you create your marketing. We have a tool, because I am a numbers girl, I'm not a creative, but inside of our platform, we have a tool that creates flyers, that creates promo codes, and we give you the key to success to find your own members and save on that fee. So you do not pay that fee if you find your own member. So great question, Guy. Thank you so much. I'm going to go to Abraham, who is a host. So I'm so excited to meet you.
Yes, thank you for your seminar. I'm not going to stay long. I'm going to leave soon, but the reason why I want to intervene is because I called the PadSplit many times. I have houses in Atlanta, but they're not returning my phone call. Please, can you give me right now a contact of someone that I can meet, so that if it's this week or next week, to show them my houses, so if I can work with them. Was really disappointed. I just want to intervene right now because I have another meeting to go to
Okay.
in 20 minutes. If you can give
Yeah.
me contact.
So
Yeah.
I will be in Atlanta next week, so I cover that territory as well. So
Okay.
I will what I'll do is I will send you I'll put my information in the chat, but I'll give you my cell phone number, and this is for everybody. I use my cell for work, but I will be in Atlanta next week, so we can find a time that we can walk your properties, and I'll be
Okay.
happy to assist you.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you very
so
much.
welcome. Thank you
So that's what's your cell phone number?
Yes, that is my cell phone number.
Let me write it down quickly. Thank you very much for
You're welcome. I look forward to
quick
servicing you.
No, it is gone. Please.
Oh,
Again, can you?
yeah. Hold on one second. Let's see.
Yeah, I got it now.
Okay, you got it? Awesome.
593-18166.
Yes, and I have your information for your email from registering for this, so I'll send you an email as well.
But can I give you my contact, my phone number also? I will, in case you want to contact me directly.
Okay, what is your number?
44
Okay,
375
okay,
4341.
okay, great,
404 375 4341. So
great.
your name?
Yep, Dominique Rice. I'm gonna
Dominique.
text you too.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'll see you next week.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. All right, we got another question. Hey there.
Zoom in.
Mhm.
Uh-oh, Joya?
Chat.
Oh,
I think Joya is muted.
Yeah,
There
no,
we go.
but
oh,
my
there we
question
go.
was my question was actually answered earlier. But I do have another question about the 100% of the first 10 days every month. You said if you were charging $800 for, I guess, for the rent, right?
Right.
Then 100. How did you get the 2/3? Did you say two? I think you said 200.
266. That's around
Okay.
that's around 10 days, and that's a one-time fee.
Okay, that's a one-time fee. That's how you got it. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so that equivals to be the 800 if I'm just want
That's
to make sure.
so the 266 is based if your rent was $800, that's around
Uh-huh.
that's around the first 10 days of every move in.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I wasn't sure if I was
Yes,
calculating.
and it's
Okay.
again, it's a one time. So we only take that one time. That's
Mhm.
kind of like our placement fee. And traditional property managers usually charge one full month. So we're actually we're actually 2/3 cheaper than your average property management service.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Joya. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Maria.
Hi, Dominique. Thank you for taking my question. I am currently in Orlando, Florida,
Wonderful.
and I am curious to find out if you have any PadSplits that I can actually go to and see how that looks.
So usually at PadSplit, because we honor individuals who live in the home's privacy, we don't typically have open houses. Tomorrow there will be another webinar. We have about 300 people registered for that webinar, and I'm going to send you the webinar link. What you can do, I would recommend joining and seeing if there's a host in Orlando that may be open to it, but very rarely it's that people don't want to disrupt the tenants, their members. So it's very, very rare. But if you're looking for solutions, what I can do is I can work with you and we can go through some different videos. We can talk about some different technologies that we utilize in order to show you how to optimize a property for PadSplit.
Okay, I was thinking more in terms of something that was being renovated to fit.
Okay. Yeah.
That's where I was thinking. I definitely can respect the space of, members being in their homes.
So what I'm going to do is I will connect you with our friend Corey. She's in the same role as us in that area. She's also a home investor, franchisee, and I will do an email intro with Corey to see if she has anything coming up in the area that you could watch.
Okay.
So I'll do an email intro. Okay, Maria?
Thank you so much, Dominic. Have a good night. Thanks.
Of course. Thank you. You too.
Yeah,
Okay.
the other thing you can do for Maria is we also have some video, like Matterport style video tours of existing pad splits. So we could send you that as well. That might be useful.
Perfect.
That's
Thank you.
great. Thanks, Nick.
You got it.
All right. We have another question.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Are you able to hear me clearly?
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay, good. Hey, so first of all, Dominic, thank you for all this introduction. And I'm thinking about getting my house on PadSplit, and I'm located first of all in Atlanta. So I would like to speak to somebody who knows Atlanta markets so that, they can decide what kind of a rent that we can expect, because the rent can vary depending on the location within Atlanta. So is there anybody or contact information that you could give me in Atlanta whom I can work with?
So I'm happy to help you, just like Abraham in Atlanta. I work that market. I'm there a couple of times a month. 85 is my home.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I'm just on 85 to 85.
Uh,
But I'm happy to support you, or I can connect you with my colleague Shawnee. And whichever is best. But I know the Atlanta market very well, or I can connect you with Shawnee, who is also phenomenal.
okay, good. So is Shawnee located in Atlanta?
She is, yes.
Okay, yeah. So it will be good. I mean, I know Dominic, you are the person, but what happens is that somebody who is staying here locally knows the neighborhoods and the demography in terms of the kind of people that you can expect, and they would rent from you, because the access to public transportation also is one of the factors that plays here when you're renting to a single individual. You are not renting to a family.
Right.
So I really want to check with somebody
Yeah.
like you and Shawnee.
Okay, great. I'll do an email intro to connect you with Shawnee first thing tomorrow, and she's phenomenal.
Okay, and then one thing is that would you, let's say if I have to get started, how long does it take to get myself onboarded onto, and let's say my house is now empty and I want to get started with this. When can I expect my first tenant? How soon we can turn around this?
So I put a property on in Atlanta, and it's completely filled. So we went live. He went live. He asked about his payout today. So he's so excited because he's totally filled. He went live with a beautiful townhome, but he did a really good job. I helped him go live on June 26th, and all of his rooms were filled as of July 7th. But it's all about how you stage, it's all about your pricing, it's all about your location. So there's a lot of different variables.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you're priced right, with typically we see your first booking within 7 to 10 days, if not faster. And then we like to see you at around 85% occupancy within 30 days. And then fully stabilized, close to that 100% occupancy within that 90 days. And you kind of have, like, if you had any turnover, you kind of have your house up and going with that 90-day mark where you're pretty stabilized.
Okay, very good. So do you want my number that I can share with you right now?
Sure.
Okay, it's 678 717
Okay.
8319.
Awesome. So yep, I'll connect you with Shawnee first thing in the morning.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. And I do have some follow-up questions, but I'm giving opportunity for others to speak.
Okay, sounds good. Awesome. I'm going to go to our next person. Hi, Sid.
Yes, hi, how are you? How's everything?
Good. How are you? Where are you based out of?
I'm currently in Baton Rouge, but I'm close enough to New Orleans where I'm looking to invest in that area. And I have a question. So I know that you mentioned before the booking fee would be waived if you find your own member. And what about the 8% on the revenue?
So that's a consistent fee. So that fee structure will still remain the same.
Okay, and how exactly would if I find my own member? So I guess you're calling them a member, you're not calling them a tenant, because if I find someone, then I have to ask them to register for PadSplit. Is that what's happening?
Yes. So we would have them register for PadSplit. We would offer them an incentive, and we would have them register for PadSplit. We would do the background check and the income verification. Now, if you found them yourself and you wanted to waive the income verification, maybe it's a family friend or someone from church, you can opt to waive that portion, but we would vet them and screen them. The reason for that is because everyone in the household, we want them to have the same background check to know that all of the members in the household were screened the same way for safety reasons.
Okay, so just for the sake of clarification, let's say I had a 4-bedroom house, right? And 3 of them were rented by PadSplit, and I went ahead and brought like a friend or a family member, like you said before, and I wanted to rent them the 4th room that's currently available. I would have to go through PadSplit to get this 4th room rented?
Correct, correct. And say, for instance, you didn't want to charge them. So we have many situations where people have a family, like I have a woman who purchased a home for her son to go to grad school, and he doesn't pay any rent there. So even though he goes through the membership process, he has a $1 a month rent payment, just so that way he is a member of PadSplit and background checked the same way. So yes.
Okay, so in that situation, what's the expense that I have as a landlord towards PadSplit? If there is an expense, I'm not sure.
No, there's no additional expense. You would just 8% of $1 if that's the route that you chose to charge them. So there's no extra expenses other than the 8%.
Okay, and that's pretty much like in the legal language of a contract that's between me as a landlord and PadSplit, like that would exist, that I would not
Yes.
be able. Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
So is the house then is really, and how long is usually a contract between the landlord and PadSplit?
So we do a 1-year lease term. So
Yeah.
it is an actual lease of 1 year.
Mhm.
We allow cancellation at any time. So at any time, if you're not satisfied, we don't believe in holding people captive.
Yeah.
So at any time, if you're not satisfied, you can just let us know. We ask for 60 days to deactivate your account. That time is used to make sure that we house these individuals in other PadSplits. We
Mhm.
can usually do it faster than 60 days, but we just,
Yeah.
in a market like Raleigh-Durham, where we're at 95% occupancy,
Yes.
we need a little time
Yeah.
because of
No, I
our
bet.
count. So just to make
I
sure that
bet.
they have somewhere to go. As soon
Okay.
as the last person moves out, we will
Yeah.
deplatform your property. So we don't want to hold anybody captive who
Mhm.
doesn't want to be there on the platform anymore.
Okay. In regards to finding a house and constructing it in a way that would benefit both the landlord and PadSplit, in regards to like maximizing the number of bedrooms, right? Um, for the construction, I did see on your website that you guys in your core market, you would have contractors, I guess, that I could contact. Is that correct?
Yes. So on our website, everyone, I recommend if you're thinking about PadSplit, jump on there and make a host account. It's so fun to click around. All the resources are free. So much good information. You could get on a
Mhm.
time warp on our website, just going through everything. But all the vendors that are recommended in our core markets are on there. You can
Yeah.
even kind of see how many people they've worked with. PadSplit hosts that they've worked with
Oh,
as
nice.
well. So you can kind of gauge
Yeah.
that. And then depending on where you are and which core market, I lived a lot of places. So I worked at a restaurant in New Orleans for a while with a friend. So
Right.
I have a lot of resources there too. So just reach out if you have any
Sure.
particular questions. And there are some people who are becoming preferred vendors
Mhm.
that we have access to as well. So they've gone through the vetting process. They're just not on the website yet.
Mhm.
So don't hesitate to reach out if you need some support finding a quality vendor.
Sure. I heard you you mentioned the Raleigh-Durham market being at 95% capacity, or sorry, 95% full.
Yes.
What would be the numbers for New Orleans?
So this call, we only pulled the numbers. Nick, do you want to run numbers for New Orleans real fast?
Yeah,
He's
excuse me, I can.
really fast at running numbers.
Let me just stop the share so I can access my computer
Okay.
view. But I will pull that right up.
Yeah, and we do need more properties on the platform in New Orleans. It is a pretty transient area,
Mhm.
and it's a good opportunity for PadSplit. The other thing that I like about New Orleans is that the acquisitions isn't terribly high, like our Los Angeles market.
Yeah.
So you can acquire for a pretty good price. You can buy well there.
Yeah. Yeah, we're pretty similar. In New Orleans, we're about 86% average occupancy right now. 10 days to first booking, which is pretty consistent across the country, and 29 days to 80% occupancy. So pretty much right in line with where we want to be. Occupancy could probably be a little bit higher. We do want to shoot for 90 to 95%. But for a newer market like New Orleans and a more transient market, like
Mm.
Dominique mentioned, that's not totally abnormal. So when you are investing in a more transient area, sometimes outside of Houston, if you're near one of the coastal towns, just something to keep in mind, and that's some of the guidance we can provide you with. Las Vegas is certainly a transient city as a whole, so certain locations throughout the U.S. there's some nuance there.
Definitely, definitely.
How, just one more question, and I don't want to take up too much
No worries.
time. So how successful would a landlord be? Because you mentioned Houston before. I'm 4 hours away from Houston, and I've been hearing about Texas since I was in my early 20s. I wish I followed that person's advice. This
Me
is 20
too.
years ago. Um, and like yeah, but again, like I always have my eyes on Houston, but again, it's 4 hours away. How successful would this business model that PadSplit offers be to what's termed an absentee landlord? Even though like I hate that word, but like a landlord that's not there. You would like if toilet bus, I would have to call somebody or find somebody on Craigslist or find somebody on Facebook. Are there any services from PadSplit for a landlord that lives far away, or how do you think the property could be managed from far away? Good.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I am an investor. I am developing pad splits. I am acquiring pad splits as well. The markets that I'm going into are Baltimore and Kansas City as an investor. I don't really plan on being in Kansas City a lot. So I am going to hire or Baltimore, maybe Baltimore a little more, but I'm going to hire property managers in both of those markets that specialize in co-living. So if you're not local, 4 hours isn't terrible. But I'm definitely not going to Kansas City for a toilet. So I'll be, we have resources of vendors who are property managers. The other thing that you can do as well, like what I do in my Charlotte market, is that I have everything on a well-oiled machine. So I have my handyman, I have my cleaning person, and so my maintenance request will be going to my handyman. So anything under $500, he'll have fixed within 12 hours. My cleaner knows when a move out is occurred, and she automatically schedules herself to go since and I have a retainer on file, and she goes out and she'll handle what she needs to do. And so if you have two options, you could build your team or you can outsource to a property manager, and we have some great property managers. The biggest thing is that they really need to have experience. The ideal person is someone who understands co-living. If you don't have someone who understands co-living, even someone that has done short-term rentals, I've seen a lot of property managers who focused on traditional long-term renters, and they don't have as much success with PadSplit or co-living in general, just because they're used to placing one person in the home for 12 months and then kind of being one and done. Whereas this is a little bit more hands-on. Here at PadSplit, we're always interviewing vendors. So when I interview property managers, those who were managing Airbnbs become some of the best property managers for co-living.
Are there other people that want to ask questions?
Yeah, but if you have another one, go ahead.
All right. So being you mentioned that one and done, and that's usually like what I'm used to, right? Either like it's going to be like a 6 month lease or a 1 year lease, etc. But being that there might be a lot of turnover in the number of tenants, and I'm not going to be there. Besides, of course, like putting a doorknob or like like a door handle that's numeric or electronic, right? Do you find it difficult not meeting the person or not being there to like show the person around? Or, I mean, what if the PadSplit member just wants to come take a look? Who's gonna show them around the
Don't do
apartment?
that. So PadSplit is special. So we don't do any of that. And this is why it's crucial that your pictures are honest. I was scrolling through today with a host showing them properties in their area, and I saw one room that was super AI, and someone's gonna move in that room and not be happy and not want to stay. And so the key to PadSplit, Nick and I are going to send you guys what we call a property setup guide. And the key to this is to set up your rooms properly, take proper pictures. If you follow PadSplit's blueprint to a T, you will be successful. So we don't do tours. We don't do any of that. We don't walk properties. So this is why when someone moves in, that house needs to look like those pictures, and you want to display your home in the proper manner. And that is very, very crucial. What I love to hear from members is when I moved in, this was exactly what I knew I was getting. And that's how you don't have high turnover. The other thing that is important is that you make the move-in easy. So we set up everything for you. They know your rooms are labeled, room 1, room 2, room 3. This person goes into the house that they've never been in and can easily find room number 3 because it's properly labeled. They can easily find what their space is in the kitchen. They have their own cabinet side because it's labeled. They have their own space in the refrigerator because it's labeled. When you make the process easier for our folks, this allows you to do less work on the back end. We do it right the first time. We set up everything right the first time, and you will be successful and be hands-off. That's the whole purpose of PadSplit as investors, for us to be as hands-off as possible. Okay, I'm gonna go to Jeffrey and then Ike and then Gary.
Hello. So
Hi.
there was somebody, I think earlier mentioned that they were in Orlando and they wanted to see what a PadSplit property looked like. I'm building one right now. I'm doing a full gut rehab. I'm in Tampa. So I'd be more than happy to share pictures and give them my ideas as I'm going through the process if they're interested. So
Wonderful. That was Maria. That was phenomenal. Maria, are you still here? I believe she's still here. What I can do, Jeffrey, if you don't mind, do you have the email that you registered with? I can do an email intro to Maria. Is that
sure,
okay? Okay.
Certainly.
Wonderful. I'll do that for you guys tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Jeffrey, are you working with Corey?
No, see, Fred is the property manager down here, but I think the PadSplit person I'm working with is Audrey, I want to say.
Oh, yay! We love
Yeah.
Audrey. She's
Yeah.
phenomenal. She's
Yeah, she's great.
awesome. Yeah, she does a lot in Kansas City too. She's really awesome. So awesome. Thank you so much, Jeffrey.
You're welcome.
All right. Hi, Ike. How are you?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes. Ike, where are you based out of?
I'm in Boston.
You're in Baltimore.
No, Boston,
Oh,
Massachusetts.
Boston. Okay, wonderful.
Yes, so that's my first question right there. You mentioned core markets and emerging markets. Where's Boston in that where's Boston in that?
Boston is still an emerging market. We are working hard to hopefully see Boston as a core market in the near future.
Okay. Now the rooms that you set up in these PadSplits, are they furnished rooms, or do the members have to bring in their own furniture?
All of our rooms are totally furnished, and when we send you guys the recap of this webinar, we're going to send you the property setup guide, which will show you what to put in every single room, what an ideal room looks like, and how to optimize for PadSplit.
Okay. Does Pat? I know the demographic for PadSplit was working professionals. I think is that of all ages, or just a certain, like, recent grads and stuff like that, or does it go up into retirees, for instance?
Yes, we all ages. You know, I have a colleague, Miss Bridget Hill. She and I do a lot of webinars together, and she lived in a pad split. She's always shares this, but she just recently moved out and she's looking to manage more pad splits. But she lived in Las Vegas and she's 61 years old, and she was not the oldest member in her pad split. So they had individuals from 25 years old to 63 years old living in one house, and and she always shares her experience. It was phenomenal. Intergenerational households are very big amongst pad splits. Co-ed households are also recommended, and there's no age range, and most of our pad splits are an older, more mature demographic.
Okay, so going beyond that demographic into group homes, does PadSplit have a well, or will they do they or will you be getting into that market for group homes? People who are not working but have I don't know, supported by the government or some kind of
Right.
yeah, go ahead.
Yes. So I'm very big on affordable housing. I develop affordable housing in New York, and so I would love for PadSplit to go in that direction. Unfortunately, that's not something that we see in the near future. When I talk to leadership, one of the things is that in order to be a member, they have to pay their own rent. So our system does not have a technology or have the component to be able to accept rent from another entity. So many government funded programs, they won't give the money to the individual for them to pay. So that's why at this time we are not going in that direction as a company. Not to say that maybe in a year or 2 years from now that may change, but at this time we are not going in that direction.
Okay, when you're designing a potential single house, right? And you're dividing up the rooms. Do you design space for common areas, like a living room, for instance?
Every pad split host is different. Every property that I design, that I develop is different as well. Most properties no. The common areas are the kitchen and the dining room area in order to maximize your revenue. If you are dead set on having a living room space, or your property conversion can't be a living room, you just can't get rid of the living room, then all of us recommend, our model is couches create problems. So if you are going to do a living room space, is to have it be more of like a Zen room with maybe two chairs, uh, a coffee table, a plant, very minimal, very basic. This is not a frat house. This isn't the Super Bowl party house. This is, a co-living place for people to live. So less is more when it comes to living areas.
Is there a standard to the size of a pad split room? Like how small is too small and how big is too big? If that makes sense.
So I've never seen too big, but Nick, what do we require? 80
8 by
square feet?
10.
8 by
Yeah.
10. Yeah. 8 by
10.
10. Now, 8 by 10s have a lot more turn. We really want to see that 90 square feet to 100 square feet. What happens in those 8 by 10 rooms is that, someone will move in and that's great. And then when a room opens up in that household, they want to go to the bigger room. They don't want to leave the house because they like it and they've established, this is where they are, but they'll want to, transition to the larger room, and then those smaller rooms have more turn.
How strict are the guidelines when it comes to family and friends, girlfriends and husbands and stuff like that? I'm
Yeah.
assuming in past it is just singles and singles only, right? But what happens when one of them, all of us, a girl wants her boyfriend to spend the night because he traveled all the way from, I don't know, a long distance city?
Well, that's
Is
what
there
hotels
any
are
particular list with her?
for.
Yeah.
That's what hotels are for. But for PadSplit, every host makes their own rules for your property. Nick and I both encourage our hosts to have a no guest policy. You can change this. You can make the rules for your house whatever you want. We recommend no guest. That's just what we recommend. And if they want to have visitors, there's other places for that. But we do recommend no guests.
Okay. And I just asked two quick questions. Singles and over here in Boston, we have a lot of triple deck. We call it triple deckers, but you might call it triplexes and or three family homes. Does Pat what does PadSplit think of three families? In other words, turning each apartment into a PadSplit.
Definitely. So I have a lot of friends. I work with a lot of sub-2 people in New York City, Brooklyn, and a lot of people are turning those properties into pad splits. So definitely recommend that. And in terms of single occupancy, that's also your choice. You can do single occupancy or not. I recommend when you're first starting with PadSplit, start with single occupancy, learn PadSplit, get in there, know the system, handle any small issues that come up, because when there's more than one person sharing a room, it's not PadSplit, it's human nature for there to be more conflict. So I recommend single occupancy to all my hosts, especially when they're first starting. And as you grow your portfolio, once your risk tolerance is higher, then, seeing it, because the amount of money for multiple occupancy to me as an investor isn't worth it, for the headache that it could bring personally.
Okay, and last question. And I'll yield the mic. Where does PadSplit begin and the property manager, or what does it end and the property manager begin? If you know.
We're
Um,
everything behind the scenes. So think anything that doesn't step foot into the household. So at PadSplit, anything that can be done virtually, all of that stuff. Nick and I choose to do, we choose to go on site because he's local. He's in the Raleigh-Durham area. I travel full time. I'm in Virginia this week. All I see is 85 in the airport. So, but we choose to go on site because we're passionate about what we do. But most of the time at PadSplit, we're behind the scenes. So anything that doesn't require stepping foot in the property is more of a PadSplit thing. Anything that requires maintenance, cleaning, on-site things, that's where a PM takes over.
okay. And would you recommend one of the members be I don't know how you guys would say it in this country, like a monitor, someone in charge of the other,
Let
not in
me
charge. Yeah.
Let me tell you some things. One of the
Yeah.
members is going to become that without you asking for it. I had a member text me last night. Good evening, Miss D. I got 80% of the construction trash picked up. Day 2, paint buckets, boxes, and wood. This is not his responsibility. He just chose to do that because he loves this property. And fun fact, he lived in it when my host purchased it and he was displaced. And we brought him back to the property because he was actually homeless. So he has so much gratitude. So what I find in PadSplit and in co-living, somebody's the house mom, somebody's the house dad. And let me tell you something, nothing is flying when they're there. They're going to report everything. They're going to take care of your house better than you could ever imagine.
All right, thank you. Could you remind me your name again, Miss
Dominique Rice.
Dominique? Okay. All right, thanks, Dominique. I
You're
appreciate you.
welcome. You're welcome. I'm going to Gary, and then let me see if there's anybody else after Gary. Hey, Gary. Let me see. Okay.
I think he's still muted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can you hear me
Gary.
now?
Hi,
There we
how
go.
are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Yeah. So, do you find that you have a lot of problems where you've got a lot of people in a small space or smaller space? Do you find that you do have tend to have problems between tenants?
Not really. So what I tell people when you're doing co-living is that I find that there's less drama than it is with a family living, like with 4 family members living in a home. So there's going to be small issues. There's going to be things like Johnny ate my cereal. That's what our 24/7 member support helps navigate those issues and talks to Johnny and Sue and, helps them come with those solutions. So it's not a ton of issues because we're dealing with adults, we're dealing with, working professionals and people who, have a lot of respect. Not to say that there won't be an issue. We've seen probably everything, but it's not as much as you would think it would be. Our average pad split's about 6 or 7 folks in one house, so it's not like a fraternity house or anything like that. So it runs a lot smoother than I actually thought prior to getting into co-living.
Okay. And then I know that there are certain cities that are cracking down, like they've done on Airbnb, on the PadSplit model as well, or co-living model as well. Could you guys help us, somebody, a prospective host, locate an area where that's not such a danger?
Yes. Gary, where are you based out of?
I'm in Los Angeles, but I would look to do something remotely because properties are just too expensive here generally.
So I have a webinar tomorrow. I'm going to send that out to you guys. I'm going to discuss my favorite markets. Kansas City right now is my market. That's where I'm personally going to be acquiring. I love the East Coast. It's just right now acquisitions is really great in KC. And the pad split numbers are phenomenal. But yes, that is our job. We will work with you in any core market. PadSplit is a very non-traditional because your lease is with PadSplit and you're not doing short-term rentals. You have a lease with PadSplit and these individuals are members. Therefore, those same laws do not apply to PadSplit. That is why we are growing so fast and why we're so successful.
Okay. And what about neighborhoods where the neighbors are complaining that, oh, there's 6 cars in the driveway or in the neighborhood? Uh, yeah, can you speak to something like that?
Yeah. So we do not recommend HOAs. And we recommend more B and C neighborhoods for PadSplit. So that way we don't have those problems. The biggest thing about a PadSplit is that it shouldn't look like a PadSplit. It should just look like a few family members rented a house together. So from the outside looking in, if it looks like a boarding house or a PadSplit, we're not doing our job. So yeah, there's going to be some cars, but that's why it's our responsibility to select properties that has ample parking. If your property doesn't have ample parking, then maybe you only allow 4 members with the vehicle. So it's our responsibility as investors and mine and Nick's responsibility to guide you guys in order to select the right properties that you won't have those issues.
Okay. And then also I've been looking on your marketplace for already built or built out and functioning pad splits that are for sale. What is your take on buying something like that that's already constructed? And I know each property is going to be different, versus buying a property and converting it yourself?
I love both. We have a property in Raleigh-Durham. One of my now friends, he became my friend throughout his pad split process. Daryl, he literally developed a property for pad split. He picked a property next to a pad split because he knew it was a good area. And he developed it and he filled the property up to 100% occupancy and he's getting ready to put it on the marketplace. That was his whole strategy. So it's a great opportunity to jump right in. So I think, either which way is great because as you develop it, if you were to do it on your own, it takes a little bit longer, but to buy a turnkey pad split, you're buying a book of business as well as a real estate asset. So I don't think either way, there's both pros and cons to each one, but the real pro is being on pad split and growing your co-living portfolio.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I want to make sure I know we're over time. I have, hey Sharon. Okay, I got it. I got 2 more people with their hands up. So Nick, we're gonna go a little over.
All right. Good with
Sharon,
me.
you're next. Okay, I think I just have Margie.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I actually had a call with I can't remember her name. I'm sorry. She's out of Miami.
Was it
Audrey
Audrey?
Baldwin, yeah.
Oh, yes, yes,
We
Audrey.
love her. Love her.
She's so sweet. It was a quick call because I was driving, but what I did forget to ask, and I'm so glad that I'm on here, um, is um I have I told her that I had a couple of properties that I'm currently renting, but the leases are ending, and I wanted to maybe go on PadSplit, but I don't wanna um I don't want to be in charge of it. I don't have time to be letting people in, and I forgot to ask, do every room have a different lock?
Yes. So that's what Audrey will assist you with. And
Okay.
I'm going to send the setup guide to everyone on this call, but Audrey will also assist you with how you set up your property. But like everything is streamlined. You're not, I promise you, the setup is going to be a little bit. I will never lie, but the setup for me was a little bit of like a learning curve. But once you get your setup, especially if you have multiple properties, once you get your setup, then you do it once, you'll be a pro. And it's literally like you have a door code, they have a door code to their rooms, like we give you what products to buy, we give you everything you need to be successful. And Audrey is an all-star. So like she's gonna have you covered.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's what I was worried about because I forgot to ask her those two questions. And so I don't have to be hands-on after the rooms are rented, correct? Or I
Correct,
do.
correct. You don't have to be nearly as hands-on. It's we have that 24/7 member support. So everything should go through us. If anything comes up, everything is done in the app. You don't even want people to know you're the owner.
Okay, great. Yeah, because I really, like I was telling her, I do a lot of fix and flips, and I really, because I'm so busy doing that,
Right.
I cannot be, you know, also managing the leases or whoever comes in and out of a house. Um, so okay, great.
Awesome, awesome. So we have one more question. Hi, Sharn.
Hi, Dominique.
How
Nice
are
to
you?
Fine. Nice to talk to you again.
Likewise. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Okay, I'm still thinking about this Baltimore market, and now you're talking about Kansas City. What are the like entry point fees to get into these properties?
So both Baltimore and Kansas City are very similar entry point. That's why I'm interested
Mhm,
in both. Also for both of those, tomorrow my webinar, we'll be going diving deep into there. Amanda,
mhm,
who will be on there as well. She's our PM,
mhm,
my recommended PM in the Baltimore area. But their entry points are very similar. They're right around that 200,000 all in and under. So
mhm,
that's what I like about it, being in Charlotte, where it's really hard for me to be under 350 to 400. Those are
mhm,
the two markets that excite me. And I have property managers in those markets that I fully trust, that understand co-living, that understand PadSplit. So being under
mhm.
$200,000, having amazing property managers, as well as having that 90 plus occupancy rate is like, that's why those are two markets that are for me.
And what are your average number of rooms?
I want to, for me personally, I want to see a minimum of 5 to 7 rooms in anything that I'm doing.
Okay, okay. So yeah, if we can, I guess, set up some time, to talk as far as so
Yeah.
I can, yeah, maybe look into that market.
Yeah, Sharon,
And do
I'll
you
text
have
you.
anything? Okay, thank you.
I
And do
got
you have
something in
anything? Huh?
Kansas City that I'm looking at. I gotta
Mm-hmm.
call my PM and talk to him, but I just got connected with a new wholesaler, so I'll have some more deals in that market as well. And then I'm working with some wholesalers in Baltimore, so I'm aggressively trying to find properties in both markets for myself as well as other investors.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. And everyone, thank you so much for coming out tonight. Nick and I will be sending you all an email. We'll be sending you a copy of this webinar. We'll send you information for the webinar tomorrow, both my information and Nick's information. We'll send you Zach's information if you're in an emerging market, and we're also going to throw in the property setup guide. So look out for a detailed email from Nick and myself. And we are so grateful that you took this evening to be with us. Nick, did you want to add anything?
No, I think that's it. I really appreciate all the great questions from everybody. Do not ever hesitate to reach out to one of us, or if you're already working with Audrey or whoever it might be, never ever hesitate to ask more questions, to give somebody a call, shoot them a text. We're always happy to help prospective hosts, current hosts, whoever it might be, with any question, big or small. So schedule a time, just give us a call, whatever it might be. Yeah, and thank you again for being here and for asking so many great questions. I hope it was very educational, and I hope people got what they wanted to get. But of course, we are available to have further conversations.
Okay, thank you guys and have a great night.
Thank you all.